Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. The old guide wasn't sure what to do as the big angry sow jumped up on the log he was hiding on. The hunt had been a near complete disaster, and it didn't look like it would improve anytime soon. The sow slowly lumbered toward the guide while swaying her head back and forth and popping her jaws. Her anger was understandable, as the hounds had just chased her and her cubs for a while before treeing them. Now it was her turn to do the pursuing. The old guide was armed with a glorified BB gun, but knew the .22 caliber rifle was his only defense. As the sow approached to within 20 feet, he pointed the rifle in her direction and prayed the bullet, no bigger than 2 apple seeds, would find a lethal mark. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. The Idaho backcountry is a lonesome and peaceful place, the kind of place your regrets may go unnoticed as your materials and substance are moved on through the nutrient and energy cycles. Oh, there's abundant beauty in the backcountry. But the beauty there belies a highly competitive race for calories, a race in which not all the participants compete fairly. Back in 1971, a government hunter and guide by the name of Earl was chasing a sow black bear and her cubs. Walt had been contracted to remove the bears in a depredation hunt, and was guiding a hunter who had drawn the permit for it, whom we'll call Mark. The 2 hunters planned to use hounds to pursue the sow and cubs, until they either bait up at a spot or climbed a tree. Once the bears took up defense or shelter, Mark would use his .44 Magnum revolver rifle to dispatch the bears per the government's design and plan. On the set day, the hounds were taken to the location the bears were known to inhabit. The bears had been causing some kind of problem in the area, and the government wanted them removed. The best way to do this was with hounds, so the pack was released after the sow's tracks were located. Baying their way through the forests of white and yellow pine, Douglas fir, and quaking aspen trees, the hounds chased the bears for some time before the sow bayed up and stood her ground with the cubs cowering behind her. A little while later, Walt and Mark caught up with the pack as they held the sow in a dense patch of trees. She had ordered her cubs up a nearby tree and was waiting at the base to defend them. Walt positioned Mark at a spot that he could get a good shot at the sow, and watched as the hunter began searching his pockets. He hadn't loaded the rifle during the pursuit, as it was dangerous to do so with a loaded weapon, and now pitifully searched for his rounds. Walt looked on as Mark quickly ran through each pocket in his jacket, then his pants pockets. He looked around on the ground and glanced over his recent steps, hoping to see the box of shells nearby. Walt's heart dropped when he realized his .22 caliber rifle was the only means of defense the 2 men had between them. Now normally a bear hunt with hounds would end in a dead bear. The hunters would shoot the bear, either from a tree or on the ground. After succumbing to the wounds, the bear would expire, giving the hunters the safety to leash the hounds and conclude the hunt. In the event that a bear was not to be shot on the hunt, the hunters would leash each hound, as another member of the party would protect the guide by using his rifle to make sure the bear didn't charge the men. But Mark had either lost or forgotten his rounds, meaning that there was no way to ensure the bear wouldn't charge the men once the hounds were leashed, and there was no firearm powerful enough to dispatch her otherwise. By now the sow had had enough of the hounds and the men pursuing her. She turned toward the men and focused her anger on Walt as she swatted and snapped at the dogs. Seeking some kind of escape, Walt located a wind-blown yellow pine that had been toppled in a windstorm. Its root ball tipped up and lifted the trunk of the tree several feet off the ground. Walt climbed the root ball and made his way along the trunk to hide behind the limbs of the tree. The sow didn't hesitate in climbing up the root ball and joining Walt on the massive trunk. Popping her jaws and swaying her head back and forth, the sow advanced toward Walt with very clear and hostile intentions. Walt knew he'd have to fire on her if the sow came any closer. He hoped the hounds would answer his call to distract her, but they couldn't get up the root ball. Walt resolved to protect himself, even if it was with an underpowered rifle. A little information about a .22 caliber rifle is needed to understand Walt's predicament. The bullet of the round varies between 40 and 60 grains, which doesn't give the bullet enough energy to bust through the bones of a larger animal once it enters tissue and loses some energy. This means the round can bounce around inside of an animal, punching holes in organs and tissues, but it's not powerful enough to break bones and immobilize larger game. For all practical intents and purposes, it is like using a long screwdriver blade to protect yourself. The round will punch small holes in any animal, but will not knock down larger game. Walt knew he had to hit the sow in a deadly place on her body, and aimed at her throat from only 20 feet away. He fired 8 rounds in quick succession, but only succeeded in thoroughly enraging the sow, even though his bullets found their target. Just as the sow began to advance toward Walt, one of the older hounds named Rocket pulled himself up on the root ball and lit into the bear. The sow spun toward the dog, and both went flying from the log in a tempest of teeth and claws. Walt wasted no time in reloading as the hounds and bear frothed in the bushes beneath him. As the hounds worked to distract the sow, Walt fired 10 more rounds from his .22 caliber revolver he had in a holster on his hip. With bushes flying and limbs whipping, the bear moved into a nearby thicket with the hounds right behind her. For several minutes she kept the hounds at bay, but eventually succumbed to her wounds. Walt had fired 14 .22 caliber rounds into her, and 2 of them had pierced vital organs, leading to her eventual death. There was no source indicating the fate of her cubs, though. Given the depredation hunt was intended to remove the bear and her cubs from the area, it is assumed that the cubs were killed by the hunters, but if they were not, the cubs would not likely survive long without their mother to protect and provide for them. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. Today, Idaho hosts an estimated bear population of between 20,000 and 30,000 black bears over its 83,569 square miles, yielding a bear density of 1 black bear for every 3 square miles, using the highest population figures. This is an extremely high black bear population density, but the rugged terrain and plentiful food allows the habitat to carry the population comfortably. Black bears in Idaho are pursued in a fall and spring season in which only bears without cubs can be harvested over bait with the pursuit of hounds with firearms or archery equipment. There is also a pursuit-only season in which hounds can be trained to track bears, but harvesting during the pursuit season is not allowed. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Do you think the sow would have killed Walt if Rocket hadn't distracted her? What should Walt and Mark have done upon learning they had no bullets? Do you think Walt bought a larger bore rifle for future hunts? I wouldn't have gone out without one. I'll gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.